No music. I could change that pretty quick, though. Oh. C20. Animaniacs. Game pack, no booklet. Animaniacs. Disc media, computer game, $12. This is for Windows 95 in Power Macintosh. A little disc media. The VHS, $45. What are you talking about, Bruce? Rigby? Great White. Just relisted that yesterday. There's another sale that came through that I relisted yesterday. I did 63 sell similars yesterday because I hadn't done any new listings or any sell similars in like 3 days. So they add up. I try to get 25-ish. If it's 23, I'll take down a couple that I'll do the listed the longest and has 4 views or more, and I'll take the amount down. That way I have 25. Let's just say I have 40 that I listed for that day. I'll take down 10. That way it's 50. It's just what I do. But I haven't done any sort of listings or sell similars in a few days, so that I had quite a few to do sell similars as. But this Great White VHS is $16. And if the person who I've been commenting back and forth with on the Facebook page happens to pop in, I'll show you the 2 different envelopes that I use for DVDs and VHS. I have different size envelopes and different boxes for different things, but primarily for these. So these here, matter of fact, when I get done with this and get these things packaged up, I'm going to make an order with Supply Hut and then go drive to the west side and go pick up 2,000, 8 boxes, 8 cases that fit in a Ford Fiesta if I kind of open them up a little and crunch because they have like this much gap in them. And if I crunch it down all the way, I can get all of them in there. This right here, I use for CDs and DVDs and disc media. Slide that in, tear down the side, fold that over going this way, and then this leftover comes over this way, and now it's a little more protected. And on some, depending on how it is, I will flip it to where the front or the top of the front is more protected. However, I have a little system for that. However, if you put VHS in here, so it's padded enough, but you can see only that covers that up, and there would be no bubble to cover that up. There's a little bit here and all the way around, but if you use these eBay envelopes, which I just ordered, these are, I may have gotten the zeros, the size 0. The ones that are, I think, like 9.5 by 11.75 or something. Got the ones that are a little bigger and a little bigger than the bigger envelopes that I have that I use for bigger stuff, books. But sometimes those books just don't fit in there, and I have to tear the side open, and it's still not going to barely fit in there. So I'll have to use another envelope. So I've come across that, not a whole lot, but I mean, I can see like right here, this book. So if I were to put this book in one of those envelopes that I was just talking about, I would need 2 of them. I still don't think that the envelopes that I got, this book would fit. It might. But if not, I could still use 2, but I would have envelopes of the size that I would be able to use instead of using 2, which then costs a little more. I mean, what I do, I get, what was it, 200 of those envelopes? It's in my orders. Let me get to this, finish showing up this VHS here. So this VHS, go in here, and there was enough with that to cover that up, and there's enough with that to cover that up. So you have a little extra padding. And my eBay purchase history. So with the coupon, it's telling me to sign in. Why the fuck do I have to sign in? Either way, I forget how much they were, but they're like 22 cents. These envelopes here you can get for like 12 cents after you use a $50 coupon if you get 200 at a time. These here I get for 10 cents a piece because I go up to Supply Hut and buy them straight up. I can make an order online and pay online, or I can just go drive up there and knock on the door. Come on, knock on my door. I've been waiting for you. And say, hey, I need 2,000 envelopes. I was in that area. Here, go get them and I'll pay, you know. And then they bring them out on a little trolley and put them by the cargo area, and I'll load them up in my car. So they're like, oh yeah, 200. I mean, the price may have gone up since I got 2,000 last year. May have gone up a little, but it's still, if you have to buy these 8.5 by 10s or whatever they are, if you have to buy them online, you're probably going to average close to 20 cents each. And if I can get them for 8-10 cents less, yeah, I will. Keep your costs low. And before I even started going to Supply Hut, I would scour eBay and I would open up, there would be 30, 40 listings, or there's hundreds and hundreds of listings, but I'd go in and I try to find whichever one at that one time I'm going to be able to get the quantity I'm looking for the cheapest price. And I would spend a half an hour trying to do that, or I would do that, and then I would eventually find something that would be the cheapest for the envelopes that I need. The more I keep talking, longer this is going to take. So this great white, I'll just keep it in there. Tattooist. Go back here. I mean, I don't do many coffee table books, but I do see them, and I do find some that are good. C32. How many we have? Just no one. Absolutely no one watching. All right, 32. Alabama. I forget who. Oh, it was a guy. Strangely enough, I wrote something in one of these Facebook groups. It's like, yeah, I'm in Northeast Ohio, and I can go to Supply Hut, and then someone responds with, oh, I'm in Northeast Ohio too. And then I click on their little profile. I hover over their profile. It shows that they're in Wickliffe, and Wickliffe is where you have here and Willoughby, and then Willowick, and then Wickliffe. It's going to go like this. That may even be wrong. I mean, I'm not from here. I've been up for 6 years, but it's only a couple little towns over. I mean, he even said that he was on Lost Nation. And Lost Nation Road, Boulevard, whatever it's called, got its name because there was purported to be a lost nation of a Native American tribe that was up here. It was here, and then it wasn't. So that story stuck for a while. But Alabama. Well, he says he's up there, and Lost Nation is it's 2 exits down from here. Next one's 306. And the next one after that is Lost Nation. And the next one after that is 91. State Route 91, Somcom Center. Is that even what it's called here? I believe it is. But there were he had quite a few questions on how I do this and how I do that. And when it came over to my store and saw, I was like, how do you do that with $7? I really don't sell a whole lot of $7 items. 8, 9, 10, not often if I have it. However, I came up with it. Let's just say if I scanned it and it came up as $20, but after I hand type everything and I'm looking on eBay and that hand typing results to something that's going to be $10, well, I have the item. Does it stand a chance to sell? Most likely because I scanned it and I hit solds, especially something that would be as common as Alabama, just for example. And so it does have a chance to sell. So I got it. Well, I might as well just list it because it's going to have a chance to sell. This, well, good example, I guess. So that is $9. So however I came across it, I could have got it from someone at a yard sale where I just, like, I can either look at them all and you charge me $1 a CD, or I just buy all of them and I get them much cheaper because what? You're running your yard sale, you might have 5 more sales of CDs, or you might have none. Or you might have somebody like me come across and be like, I'll just take them all, but you got to give me a good price. However, that came across. I've done pickups. I've given my number to people for physical media, and they'd be like, hey, come here, come and look at this. Or it could have just been in a bit. However, I got it. Or it could have been 10 cents. It could have been at, there's a couple Salvation Armies that sometimes it's 10 for $1 for CDs. So it could have been one. I was like, well, I need one more because if you don't get that 10, they'll charge you the regular price for them. I was like, then just charge me for the other one. And then you guys now get to keep that. Charge me the $1. I'll take 9. For some reason, that just goes right over people's heads. Or it could have been like there, where I needed physically 10 of them. So when I go there and they have that sale, I know anything that's going to be like $10, I better put on the stack, and I end up with stuff like this. And there's $9 that sold in the shipping, and even if it's sold promoted, yeah, it's still a couple bucks. How much time did it take to get pictures and put it away? 3 minutes combined for that. Oh man, you're going to go broke doing that. Yeah, but all the other stuff, each of these boxes is at least $1,000 of CDs. Some may even be $2,000. I could have a couple in here that are $150, $200 CDs, all just kind of mixed in. So $9 for that. On the other end of the scale, of the spectrum, is this one. Steve Camp. Steve Camp. Look at that. You want to talk about mullet? This right here. Barcode. I don't remember the story behind it. I could have scanned it, could have come up high, and I look in Terapeak, and sure enough, they do sell for really good money. Or I don't remember. But it's something that we're like, yeah, I'll buy it, and I'll give it a chance and see what happens. So I listed it, and I looked last night. This is from December 24th when I listed it. December 24th. Well, it may have been sell somewhere since then. But the date stamp in the picture is December 24th of last year. So we're almost at that right now in June. So 6 months later, $63. And it's going across the seas. So from $9 CD that I probably paid 10, 15, 20 cents for to a $63 CD that I may have paid the same amount for. I don't remember. 10 cents, 50 cents, $1. You would more than likely have to go back to some of my sourcing videos, which were actually recorded videos, and go back to the sourcing playlist around sometime in December the very end of December, maybe the last handful of days, and see that. And that'll give you an idea on where I was and how much I spent. It wasn't $400, so I could sell it for 500. B7, got to get a book. Another one that I relisted yesterday. And yes, it's morning. I do my work in my bare feet. Oh, in all my bare feet, I guess, huh? B7. All right, follow Chronopolis. So I did it sell similar. The price was like so just under 15 bucks. And then it gets relisted, and then it's just, I forget the exact pricing, but it came down like a buck and a half. Got 13 for I don't remember where I got this book from. This one, no, I do. I got it from that one guy's house, or that lady's house out in Thompson. And what did I pay? I don't remember exactly. This is probably 15 cents, 20 cents after everything that I got there and of everything that got listed. That's how I'll do it. The quantity for what I paid, and the quantity is going to be of what got listed, of what's enough. Why would I put in the count of stuff that's not going to equate to money to recoup the amount of money that I spent? $0 stuff isn't going to recoup any money. So let's just say if I got 100 things for 50 bucks, it's 50 cents each. I forget what it was. I mean, there was a bunch of CDs and cassettes, and it was all eyeball. There was no looking anything up. I don't remember. It would be in a sourcing video. I don't remember exactly when, and that may not even been in it. Gettysburg. Sealed DVD or sealed CD. Looks like it. The sealed CD for Gettysburg. Right? Wouldn't think it. I'm coming off a little aggressive. Might be because of another thread from another one of those Facebook posts. I read the pretension, and I read between the lines of what the comment was, to where I was like, yeah, man, you could do your 60 hours a week, do all that. I mean, everybody does things differently. They showed a picture of like the USPS counter was filled with boxes. I forget the exact title that they used in there. And I was like, a pretty good, or a good sales day, or an average sales day of $500 of physical media would fit in half that brown box. While they're, trying to say, is like, imagine selling all that. And then I wrote something like, imagine all that work if that's what you had to do. For 500 or 1,000 bucks, I could fill up half of that brown box of physical media. And they reply with like, oh, that's just really tedious work. It's like, poof, that went right over your head. Right over your head. It's like, there's a brown box this big. If I could fill half of that of physical media of sales, as opposed to all these bigger boxes and all the other stuff that had to be wrapped up and padded and put inside the boxes and measured and weighed and all this, and then all the tinkering, finagling, and all that time for whatever imaginative number and information we're using here, for all that time, I could do that quantity, not volume, not space volume. I could do that quantity in probably 1/5 the amount of time for probably the same amount in sales. That's going to take up 1/1000th the amount of space. But that's tedious work. Picking up a leaf one by one is tedious work. Using a rake is more efficient. Using an engine blower, a big drag blower things, is more efficient. Not doing anything with the leaves is even more efficient, right? So it's like, whew, that one just went completely over his head, and then it turned into an aggressive thread. And then someone actually came back and it had nothing to do with that thread. Like, that's kind of amazing that your average sales like $34 for physical media. I was like, yeah, it is. And I try to tell people this. Every once in a while, you get somebody like, oh, they're on their 30,000 over 90-day high horse is what it is. So that's my take on that. I just buying and selling physical media is so nonchalant to me that I don't. I'm not going to go anywhere with that. When you have a system that you know that works and works well enough, and beyond well enough to where you could take your work time and cut that in half for the same results of double the amount of time. In my experience, my region, that works a lot better. Reminds me of like the advancement of computers. If you can get the same amount of work done in 1/10 the amount of time, booyah, computer. If you can get more work done in less time, even better yet. So, Gettysburg, sealed CD. This is just the oddball stuff that there is. 33 bucks. So if I'm going to anywhere from 2 stores a day or whenever I go out to, like today, I'm going to try to hit 8. It's after 9:30. If I get this stuff packaged and I'm out by 10:30, I could be at the first stop by 11:30, which they open at 11, the first one. Usually I would stop at another store that opens at 10, but I need to stop at this one and then loop down to these two, and then I go this way. So I have to kind of start there and loop this way. But yeah, that's Steve Camp, 63 bucks for that CD. Just going somewhere and just buying it for 50 cents. I mean, the work is, there's not a lot of work in going out and looking up physical media. The other categories of stuff, besides like digital goods and things like that, the other categories of stuff, there's just a lot of work involved to get the same amount in dollar of sales and what have you. So it baffles me sometimes when people want to try to disparage other people. And yeah, there's that. I didn't see any comments come through, but hopefully there's not. Because I mean, it can be aggressive, like somebody trying to invalidate your. Let's just say you have someone who Brett Favre. It's like someone intentionally, because that other person has played a little bit of football. I'm just using football for example. Has played a little football that gives that person the absolute knowledge and experience to critique somebody who's way better or different than them. Oh man, but that's a lot of tedious work. I prefer to only sell stuff that's $500 flip. Yeah, so does about every fucking other person. Like we'd all love to have every single flip be $500 or $1,000, $5,000 or $20,000. It's tedious work because you don't know how to do the tedious work, and it's not really even tedious work. It's just a lot of work that doesn't take a lot of time. It's like raking leaves. The tedious work would be picking up a leaf, looking at it, identifying it by its genus, species, and family, and then putting it down, and then wrapping it up in toilet paper so it doesn't get crushed. That's the tedious work. When you could just get a whole bunch of leaves, get them all done, get all the stuff you need done with them real quick, and put them elsewhere. Now you're done. People do, and on top of that, this person's eBay account is 2 years old with like 6 negatives, like 18 neutrals. Finest Flips. That's who it is on Facebook. I mean, I just picked up on, I was like, you are that's very, very pretentious. I write on how I forget what it is. It's just one of those things to kind of talk about. That's not about this one. The guy from a different thread, a different one of those Facebook groups who lives down the street was asking questions. And so the multitude of selling, I think maybe 50 of my listings are under 10 bucks. Very, 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 very few sell for $7, $8, $9. Very few. And try to give an example that there's other things to sell in other categories and other ways to go about the work. Maybe I have no idea. Maybe I am the only one. All right, no one's commented. Maybe I'm the only one, and maybe 5 other people in the United States have, for eBay wise, have figured out a time efficient system to where you got to go to get inventory, what you got to do to get it back, or when you get it back, what you have to do to it, and then getting the stuff that you need and the time involved for that. Maybe there's only a couple people who do that. I mean, James Helfstetter at My Boring Reseller Life, My Great Reselling Life, I think was a major influence to me getting into physical media 5 years ago, 6 years ago, just on how much you can get for how little work it takes in order to get the picture. The vast majority does not need testing, does not need wash, does not need this, does not need measured, doesn't need this, doesn't need 500 pounds of boxes. Just how little work it takes. On top of that, there's a lot of music I had no idea about that I found out that I like because, the Nakamichi and the Denon and the Yamaha and the Tiak and the stuff I bought at thrift stores in order to listen to CDs and test the cassettes. Cassettes are one of those you have to test. 8-tracks, I do have an 8-track player, but it doesn't play right. It does play, but it doesn't play right. So I've learned from them. But other people want to spend 60 hours a week going around and, trying to. So be it. Anything that stays out of the landfill, for the most part, is way better than it ended up in the landfill. So however somebody gets something and wants to sell it, great. It's like, dude. So when I say that I don't know. Last week I probably put in 15 hours for eBay in between buying stuff, listing stuff, and packaging stuff. Some weeks I've done 30, but that 30 is going to be about the max. Some people do 50, 60 hours a week just so they can get a $500 payout. I'll do 20 hours a week so I can get 1,000. D25. Nomads. It's Piers Brosnan. Yeah. So try to be condescending and disparage somebody else. So be it. I mean, anyhow, $21 for this. And then the last one is a $15 VHS. The WeSing Train VHS, VN4. The VHS is on top like that, means it's more recently listed. But this is $15. It's actually 216. There's an international order, so it's 183 for 8 items. I've been selling for a long time, and I started off selling larger electronics: old Marantz, Macintosh, Dodd, Crown, Carver, Telefunken, Quad, Dual. I mean, all kinds of brands of stuff that you could get back in the 90s. And a lot of that stuff, I mean, the dollar was different then. The U.S. dollar currency values were different then. I mean, you could probably get a good quadraphonic Marantz receiver. One that I had that I remember was a 4270, and it had an SQA decoder on the bottom. That one I got from when I worked at the electronics shop building crossovers. But that then, maybe 25 years ago, sold for $400. Now they're like $2,000. Many, many more years have passed, and a lot of them have been tossed out, and therefore there's less of them. So I started off doing that, and then there wasn't really like full-time at all. Full-time was 5 years ago. But I sold all kinds of stuff. That stuff, makeup and bathroom goods and brushes. Whatever. If it was basically, it's $1. It's not going to be too much to ship. Uh, I may not have been doing free shipping then, but okay, I can make $10. It's not going to take that long to deal with. Cool. And I did that. And then I really got into the more of the smalls. Small electronics like calculators, cameras, uh, any kind of the smalls that you could think of. Smaller electronics. If it was available and if it had a good enough pricing to sell, sure. A lot of that stuff just didn't work when you got it home. So then you got stuck with the parts not working. So you had to test almost everything so you don't end up with somebody saying, oh, this doesn't work, and then you're refunding them in full or eating a refund or whichever. I did clothing. I did printed tees. Whatever they were, mainly like band tees and franchise tees, like Star Trek T-shirts and stuff. Did those for a while. Did shoes, a little bit of shoes for a while. Any other kind of like little oddball smalls, did health and beauty stuff. Did a few watches here and there, tie clips, cuff links, belt buckles, collar clip things, brooches for I forget what, maybe they're called a brooch. That's right here. Then the hair barrette brooch things, stuff that just looks better and cooler. I just got tired of doing that. And they get a lot of that stuff. Well, they didn't have Terapeak really on the app then. So Terapeak wasn't added until product research wasn't added until maybe a couple of years ago. Maybe at max a couple of years ago. So most of eBay buying was blind. So if you're buying stuff on, it looks cool. How much is it? $3. I mean, worst come to worst, I could probably sell for 20. I won't lose money. That kind of stuff. That was the approach then. In this day and age, with needing to be more absolute, unless you're buying in a large bulk and you're going to end up with a lot of chaff, and that's just more work. Looking stuff up, you have the 90-day solds for sure. And that gives me a gauge, and I have videos that show how I use the app. And I'll get something, let's just say for this, let's say that there were a bunch of VHS. Whatever they may be, let's just say that there are 100 VHS, and 4 VHS catch my eye. Zorro, right? So who want to buy a sealed Zorro? That's a pretty good franchise. Still have it. Midnight Madness. This looks like Michael J. Fox. Sealed. Looks like a reseal, but even if it's not, that one is new, right? Dance with Us, another kids thing. Dead Man on Campus. That was a funny movie. Wolfman, Thread. Some of these, I mean, they're not much and they don't sell for a whole lot. But let's just say if I'm sitting there looking and I have the ones that I want to look at, I don't know if this one will come up on scan or not. A lot of We Sing can do good, some doesn't. And then you learn about franchises, right? So, I mean, they come up as $15. So if I'm someplace and it's 50 cents a VHS or $1 a VHS, it's going to be $4.47 to ship. If it sells for $15, which that one did, 4 have sold, and just by scan, it's not going to show the one that I had. Because I don't use SKU. I don't scan and then click sell one like this and then go in and edit. I don't do that. But this one here, you know, even at that, that's $15. So if I'm going to pay 50 cents, literally is what I do. My rewinder broke, but the other one that I just bought broke. So I'll take a picture like that. Take a picture like that for $15. If it's like $50, $60, I'll get a couple more pictures of that. So I have this picture, and then I'll download this picture again, and I'll crop the picture down to show a closer, more zoomed in and highlighted, like the little highlight one on the pictures for the tape. And that's it. 2 pictures. I'm not taking 18 pictures of a pair of shoes. for someone to get them and be like, oh, they're worn too much than what I thought. I'm returning them. I got a return yesterday for ordered by mistake. Oh, no, they opened up a Rolling Stones cassette. So this sold new. It was sold sealed for 25 bucks. And they messaged me like, oh, I opened it and I put it in my cassette player and it doesn't play. Well, I'll put it in my cassette player and it plays and I hear it. So they took a new item and opened it and used it. 50% refund, right? So that's one return, but I haven't gotten a return for something that is like not as described or along those lines. I mean, the return rate that I get might be 2 a month. Might. By average, it's probably 1.5. Sell clothes, sell shoes, sell electronics, sell all kinds. The return rate on those categories is massive. I've just been at selling for a long time to where eventually I needed to find something that was just easy to work with. It's everywhere. It's quick to look up. It's cheap. It sells fast. It's your mom. And that's physical media. Got some fuzz. Maybe the book. So I'm reading this on a phone. I'll probably bring that up. You got to return because the package got torn in transit. Yeah, I've had that every once in a while, and even at that, I ship. If it's media stuff, 98% of the time it gets shipped out media mail. Every once in a while, if Ground Advantage is going to beat media mail with insurance going through pirate ship for that price, if it's Ground Advantage is just going to be cheap. And now I know about the different upcharges and stuff, but it's rare that I have anything over 2 pounds. And then there's always pirate ship and all that. I'm not pressed about all that, but if it gets torn in transit, yeah, that can fall. I would be kind of have to, but I haven't had a damage claim in, I don't think any this year. Right around the holidays is when you may get more responses about damage and delay and stuff, but there's something about poof and fuzz. Got some fuzz. So fuzz, I don't know if you're talking like an adjective of describing talking back and forth, like some bad talk back and forth, or fuzz, like actual like little fuzzies and furries. But either way, usually my lives don't go like this, but sometimes it's just non-experienced pompousness can be irritating to people who are more well versed. Are more well versed, and it's I want to say it's wrong to make assumptions because ascertaining and surmising is the same thing as assuming, except for you have more detail. And then you can get it as like conjecture because you're able to piece things together. The whole story may not be right, but you have enough information to make something conjecture. You're looking at somebody's eBay store that's 2 years old and the small litany of negatives and neutrals and their approach and their comments to other people in the Facebook group. Not all, some I was able to kind of read. And before I do that, because a lot of people will post like this is a fake type video. And if you don't know that creator, that video could just be someone. There's one that goes around and he's always making fun of like the he needs like a Simpsons VHS or something. And then he'll find one at a thrift store like he does all the time. He's like, and then he put a picture up. He's like, $10,000. Most people are gonna be like, that's not fucking 10,000. But if you don't look at more of the comments and stuff, then you're going to be going in with your own assumption. So when I'm reading, especially at pages I don't know, I'm going to read other comments to kind of get the gist of it. So I was reading some of the comments and reading some of his replies. Like, you're coming off really fucking pompous, really arrogant with a lot of your replies to regards to anybody else doing anything else besides what you're doing. So when I wrote my comment, something along the lines like, oh yeah, I mean, of all those items on that shelf, I could fill half that box and it's $1,000 in sales. Oh, that's real tedious work. No, it's not tedious. Taking less time to get more results is far from tedious. So anyhow, and I left 2 nice, pretty lengthy barking messages. Some fuzzy messages, some fuzzy words. So usually I don't make things like this, but it just happens to be stirring on my head right then. And I wanted to show that 60 something dollar this right here. You know, $63 for that CD, and it's going across the pond, so they probably have like $80 in it, if not more, $85. Well, what would be converted US dollars, right? For the amount of time and the amount of work that I put in, there's that. I want to see. So next week, Monday is fine. Maybe I'll just go out that way on Monday. That's good because there was 2 savers on that route. Actually, I could probably hit 3 savers on that route if I cut out a couple of other stores. And savers is 50% off on Mondays. I really go on any stores on their sales days, like the bigger stores. Like Savers in the media section, you're going to end up, there's going to be a few other, not all the time, but there's just more people. And that's why when I go out sourcing, it's typically from 10 to 11 o'clock start when I leave, and I'm done at like 3 o'clock. Most of that time frame when I'm in stores from 11 to 3, there's very few people in those stores. I don't want to deal with people as little, I want to deal with as few amount of people as possible. But next week is supposed to be Tuesday, Wednesday is 92, 92. Monday is 84, might have some cloud. And those are the days when I will be in here doing work. Get pictures early before the sun comes blasting through the front window. And that's when you got to, shut the curtains and stuff. When it have to, if the windows are really, really good. But when it's hot like that, I don't go out. The same thing if it's like really, really freezing cold, or if it's snowy. I mean, although I just did get brand new tires on the Fiesta, and it's not winter now, I still really don't like going out when it's bad roads out, or if it's really, really harsh storming. Why bother? Why put yourself in that position to have to potentially get yourself in an accident or be part of an accident? I mean, although I have the Aflac accident and incidental insurance, I mean, it's only like $100 a day, or I forget. I haven't had to use it yet, but for the $40 a month, $500 a year, if anything happens, you're gonna get that money right back as soon as you have any sort of accident, any sort of anything like that. Other insurance, I forget what. Oh yeah, so I found the CDs that I was trying to find yesterday when I was putting stuff away. Walking around, I'm like, man, I can't believe I lost a whole fucking box of CDs. Well, not a whole box, but a bunch of CDs. How did I manage to do that? How did I lose a whole bunch of CDs? Well, they were on the cushion of the couch. It had something else in front of it, and then a stack of books on top of it. That's where they were. So when I got done listing, I just didn't bring them over here. So I will go. So I kind of changed my plans for today for the envelopes. I still have maybe 300 envelopes plus the eBay ones. So usually I'm not negative or depreciative of other resellers. When you come off as condescending to other people, or you're trying to vilify or discourage their approach, their methods, in other comments I read, I mean, some people pick up on that, and I am one of those some people. That it's great to be able to find. I mean, you saw like $1,000 American flag or something, an older flag, and an older Bible for a couple $100. I mean, I sold a much newer Bible. It's called a Humble Lion, Humble Lamb, or something like that for like $600 at a thrift store. You know, it's don't worry, guys. There's always a one-upper. Who's ever watching? 5 people. Okay, well, I guess the 5 here, it's either lurking, which I don't mind, or a few of my biggest fans. All right. So I've been at this for a long time. eBay. Full time. 5 years ago, 6 years ago. A year after we moved up here. And so it was COVID happened 20, moved up here in 20. So it'll be the start of 6 years. So a year after that, so 5 years. My full time, 25, 30 hours a week. And I walk around on the dirty carpet because it doesn't take long to really get dirty because this is a small place in here. Bare feet, still dirty carpet. Bare feet. Oh, well. I'm not sucking my toes. Kind of relax. Got to pump the listing and the sales up so there's money. Got a $15,000 bill that needs paid, and then after that's done, we're gonna start looking pretty soon to find a place to move. Probably end of August, September. I don't care if we're moving in a snowstorm in December. It's time to get out of here and get something a larger place without stairs. So I'm going to put these CDs away, and these I could just easily look up. So I'm in CDs. But for the little bit of time that I put in for selling physical media, and I may just be fortunate. I may just be, since I live where I live at, and I can't, there's no thrift stores north. I can get, if I were to fly straight like a bird, straight to Lake Erie. I don't know if it has birds fly, but it's maybe not even 2 miles up. So there's nothing really left or right. I mean, there is, or there's nothing north. Everything's left and right and south. So I got 3 directions I can go, and half this way, right? So there's no north in any angle direction. Well, kind of, Ashtabula, but still. The amount of thrift stores and places out here where I get physical media, it doesn't end. There's 40, 50 stores out here from Avon, which is far west side, to Ashtabula, which is not too far from the PA border, to Akron, which is out by Canton. There's all kinds of, all over the place. And I have routes that I take to where I know my timing. I know how big the store is. I know how much media they have. I know how long it would take, even if I get 50 things, I know how long I would be there, even if it's only 3 things. I have that timing. And being that I'm scanning stuff and I'm not having to have to take the time and look up every single pair of jeans, every single pair of shoes, every single knickknack, every single this. There's things that you're going to see that you already know that you're going to want to get. I was like, or if there's an old pair of Klein cutters from the 1940s, yeah, I'll buy those for $2. There's just those common things. Or if there's a nice wood cabinet Marantz or a Kai or Teoc or Dual or a nice record player they want $50 for, I know that it's going to be a minimum $200-300 parts not working. That stuff, but I prefer to just sit there, just find stuff that's interesting or that's not really interesting, but sealed, and just scan. Is it worth money? And then Michael W. Smith. Is it worth money? Is it worth? Yeah, okay, I'll pay 50 cents for it. More things done in the same amount of or less than time. Go talk to any business. Be like, hey, if you were to do that exact job, but it takes you 3 times as long, would you still be in business? Probably not. Time, your time, and how efficient that time is, efficient being how much can be done and how much can be made, is the key foundation principle of every single bit. It's a foundation principle in anything, in hobbies. For example, I started micro scrapping this year. When I get multiple, especially from the ultrasound repair place around the corner, and I've got 15 of these flat screens that are like this, each one's going to equate to about $15 in scrap. I have to look at it and figure out how I'm going to take it apart the most efficiently. What is the least amount of moves to get the damn thing in checkmate? That's the point. What am I going to not do because I don't need to, because I could do this instead, and then this would defeat 3 other steps, which would take 4 minutes. Efficiency. And then yourself is efficacy on how well you perform what you're doing for your own good and benefit, your own efficacy. C24. That's my take. And another thing about clothing and textiles, they absorb moisture, they absorb smells. In clothing, there's all kinds of issues you can have of things with, not only stains, you can identify a stain. Granted, a pair of jeans, really, really good condition, could be $100. If they're stained up, they could even still be $100. But if the person doesn't want that stain and they buy it, or it just opens. It's just so many. It's just issues. I'm not saying don't sell clothes. I'm just saying that I've dealt with enough categories over the decades to know that the griefing over physical media, the buyers griefing over some physical media, is almost non-existent. You'll get a grief all the time. I love watching some of these other ones on Facebook. Piece of Scrap is one. Landfill Savior, I want to say, is the other. Retro Toy Envy, I think, is the other one. Some of their ways on how they approach things, and they joke, especially with like potential customers coming in and asking stupid questions. That's just, that's entertaining. Because that's how I approach a lot of people, a lot of potential buyers too. I love it. I have it a title. It's going to be new/sealed. Then you'll get a question. It's like, oh, is this sealed? Is this brand new? Did you look at the picture? Blocked. I'm not dealing with you. So whomever is here, if you like the rant, hey, thanks. I don't do YouTube to really. I will opine. I'll give my opinion, my take on things that I've done. And the number one thing that I say often enough is the time. So I have a live stream from yesterday the day before, when I was putting stuff away. And I put away 60, maybe, no, 60 would be about right. 60 CDs. And I still talked for maybe 20 minutes at the end. And those 60 were put away in like a half an hour. Go put away 60 t-shirts. I mean, yeah, you're going to hang them up just like that, but you know, you're going to put them in a bag or whichever. Sell what you want to sell. Just remember that your time, you're not getting it back. Cool story about warrants, and I say it here in the channel often. I grew up down the road from Janie Lane. Here's a percussionist for Warrant. In Burnfield, Ohio, he lived on a road called Arcadia. And I lived on a road called Duffield, which had our house was right in front of the water tower. And his was like 2 or 3 houses past the intersection of Cherrywood. C48. Yeah, usually I'm not. That's a $23 CD. Probably paid $1. This Carpenter's one I think is a little better. Yeah, most of my videos or streams are going to be Carpenter's collection, $23. Still for a Carpenter's, right? The Carpenter's CD. Usually it's positive. Usually this is what I find. This is how I look for it. This is what I look for. This is what I did. Every once in a while, something irks. Something will just kind of irk. And it resonates. And that resonates bad. Well, it resonates bad because there's some sort of degree of, well, I don't know the person like that, but I know last year when I had my thousand sales over 90 days, my total was like 33,000. And I felt elated wanting to post that, right? And I think I just put that in like a YouTube post, like, hey, finally got my 1,000 sale over 90 days. And that was 33,000 in gross sales over those 90 days, free shipping. And now it's like 20,000 over the 90 days. And it's been pretty much that since the end of February. It was riding right about 25, 26, 27,000 until the end of February. March came around. I mean, there were plenty of days when I was still making videos. There were plenty of there were plenty of days when there was like 4 that went out. And I'm still listing just as much. No need to speculate on why that is. I'm part of it, but I also know that I can just go right down the road. I mean, fuck, I got $2,500 of stuff the other day. I can go right down the road and go hit. Well, today I will do a local run, but I can go get another quite a bit chunk of more media. It could be 10, 15, 20 things, but that could be another $1,000 of stuff. I could find a $500, $600 Alcoholics Anonymous book. Sold those before. To find another like oddball offshoot, who the heck knows really, the $150 book or $200 CD. Well, it's not going to take me long to find it, to look through that stuff. If I hit the Habitat, Savers, Goodwill, I won't go to Hope, and then the VOA. Let's just say if I leave Eddie, I'd still be back at like 3, and that'll be 5, 6, 700, $1,000 of stuff, and that's just local right here. It's my gig, you know. I figured out that there's a lot of media out there, and it's real cheap, and there's a lot of it around here. C48. Greetings from John Stewart. That one's 18 bucks. C48. Give or take some change. It could sell for 15. Relentless. Another $18 CD. I mean, that's just bread and butter stuff. You know, I'm going to pay 50 cents, a dollar for. It sells for 18. It sells for $18. If we do 15% on that $18, so 10, 5, $80, 20 or $2.20, $2.30 roughly, $4.47 to ship, $6.70 something. And if we say it was a dollar and some change for the item, that's $8. That's a $10 on an $18 sale. It's so promoted. You're losing that 2%. I mean, I got 10% final value fee credit, which however you want to look at it, it's still $8 to $10 for the. I'm at the stores going through this. It happens to be one that I'm going to get. It goes in my cart. I spend 20 minutes to an hour in a store. Come all the way back. This is 2 discs. This will get separated early into multi-disc stuff because I'll do multi-disc stuff on a whole different listing or a whole different. It'll be that way. I'm not like changing a whole lot in the title and the specifications and all that. That'll be over there. But then it's time for that. So I take this out, flip it over. Is it good? Yeah, it's got a little fingerprint. Take both those out. Put one there. Put one there. Picture. Flip it over. Picture. Flip it back over. It's a little easier with a single disc. Put that back in. I'm done. And then they get put in a box or put in stacks, and eventually they'll get put away. I have 3 minutes wrapped up in that. So if I make $1 on a whole bunch of stuff that's takes me 3 minutes, 4 minutes total. If I make $1, and I mean it's still not, but there's 12 of those. There's more than that. 15. It's $15 an hour just to barely make $1 and some small change on stuff, and then everything else you have is way more than that. But I understand where the my way is better than everybody else's because I've been at eBay for 2 years. I don't know where that is, so it's like it doesn't take a lot of time to do this. It really doesn't. So if anybody listening thought that I was being crass or harsh or accostive, you know, I'm not going to say it because there's cats, but there's more than one way on how to do things, especially on a platform that eBay is you could sell damn near anything. Everybody's approach is going to be different. What people buy, I mean, I see that there's a guy, his 90-day total is like 130,000 for 90 days, but he sells Porsche and Lamborghini and McLaren parts. Of course, you're going to have that much. You're selling something for $10,000, one given item for 10 grand. Then then your clientele is going to change as well. When you do with that, you know, the more money people spend, they are a different breed of clientele. Go to a used car dealership or run a used car dealership and every car is under $1,000. You're going to have some of the scummiest people come in there. Run a Porsche dealership. Run a Lexus, a McLaren, a Genesis. There's a myriad of other type of really, really good car brands that are out there. Run one of those and your clientele is going to be way different. But that's one approach. Some people sell only shoes, and they do very well selling only shoes. I mean, think that one of these boxes pretty much holds a pair of shoes. I mean, there could be enough. There's 100 some odd boxes, and even the ones in the other room. That's 100, maybe 120 listings of just shoes, just taking up all this room. This right here of just CDs is 1,000 CDs and maybe 700 DVDs on top of the books. And I've got eyeglass frames and stuff, small stuff. That doesn't take up a lot of room. That has a good ratio. That doesn't cost a whole lot. It's easy to work with. Everybody's approach is completely different. What everybody sells is completely different. And I say plenty of times that I sell memories and nostalgia. I wrote it in another Facebook something somewhere. sometime a couple weeks ago or something. It was like, I prefer to sell items that I know, on top of the other things it's easy to work with, is cheap. But, maybe there's a CD. Let's see if I can find, definitely not those. Find something to be able to, Fleetwood Mac, right? So I got two Fleetwood Macs down here. They're not expensive. They're like 15, 18 bucks for the two. Well, let's just say that a couple met at a Fleetwood Mac concert, right? And now they've been married for 30 years, and it's time for them to replace their records because whatever XYZ reason. And so they have a CD player, like, hey, let's start getting our CDs. And The Dance by Fleetwood Mac has like that really, really overwhelming, reverberating thing in these people's body and emotion because on how it's connected to them. That's not nostalgia. That's memory. That's resurgence of memory. That's rekindling things. It means a lot more to those people who want to have that type of, I don't know if ethereal is right, but kind of have that feeling. And unlike a T-shirt, which you can wear a little bit and you put it on and you look at it, look yourself in the mirror, and you're like, yeah, I remember 1996 quite well. That one day when I did this, and I was at band camp. And keep wearing a shirt over and over and over again. It's going to start to smell. Keep playing a CD over and over and over again. It's going to keep playing until your CD player stops playing. So you're able to relive that all the time. And so CDs and music can do that for people. The same thing. And I mean, there's not enough people really here, but if anybody listens to this in the much, much future, there's an attachment of a band of a 2-disc set that they put out in 2006 that holds very, very dear, especially for me and my wife as well. And that's the Red Hot Chili Peppers Stadium Arcadium. And there's a lot of story behind all of that on why that is for me and for her. It's not an expensive CD. And I get the kind of the giddies when I see Stadium Milk, and I'll still buy it, even if it's $2 and I know they only sell for 10. I'll still buy it and I'll listen to it, but I know it's common enough to where like I don't have to keep it. I could just find another one, and then when I don't find one for months and months on end, I get even more excited when I find the Stadium Arcadium and I get that and I play it in the car for however long, a couple weeks, what have you. I'm sure there's one for a lot of you people who's ever watching now or, well, in the future now. It's just same thing with the book. There's a lot of things can be remembered. I've sold a lot of books that are signed. It's signed by absolutely no name people. And there's plenty of times like a family member, after they'll get the book, they'll get it, be like, I can't thank you so much, or I can thank you so much for this because we don't have any of the existing copies and XYZ, and this is the last thing. This is he only signed 5 books, and you've got one of them that's signed, and you're keeping that spirit and that memory alive with us for the family. There's all kinds of things. Do that with a pair of shoes. So I went off on a little bit on that, but it's do needed. I mean, I could put these away too. Horizon, a couple video games I got at the down in Akron, Colga Falls, home of Chrissy Hines and the Pretenders. Actually, she lived in Akron. I shouldn't have much in Nintendo. Well, the other one I already sold. So let's put that in 10. I don't need a big warehouse. I don't need big tubs and bins. There are people that do really, really well and selling all different types of things. PS4. D10. D10. And just knowing like 4K Ultra HD, and they're only made for a limited time. There's not a whole. I mean, why are they going to make a whole bunch? And most people don't have 4K players. Most people don't have 4K TVs. They made these. Any title, not all of them are going to be good. This one's probably only like $20. And then, actually, just type in 4K. Physical media stuff that people can use over and over and over again with minimal degradation. Minimal. $23. 12. That's an interesting one. Wiggles. Hoop. Hoop, hoop. $50. 10 views and however long it's been up. 5 days. It's free shipping. $4.47 a ship. D12. Now I know I have all the room to get a picture of the CDs. I organized the CDs yesterday, and they're in a box. And then I'll sit down right on the edge of my couch. Right there is my little thing where I get my pictures at. Sitting on my couch, I'm getting pictures of this stuff. It's that kind of freedom. An expensive setup or anything. I just use a natural daylight. I get pictures of 50 CDs, whatever it may be. And as I'm getting pictures, I'm looking, and if I can already tell when I go to flip it over so I can get a picture of the back that it's scuffed up too much, I'll close that down, delete the first picture. A lot of times I open up beforehand, and I'll just put it to my left where I have a resurfacer at. And then I'll get a stack of CDs and DVDs that need resurfaced. And then when that stack is 25 or 30, I'll spend an hour resurfacing those 25 disc media. And that 25 disc media is by $600, $700 to $800, $1,000. I don't know. It's just it needs resurfaced. It goes on that stack. And it takes an hour to do that. And let's say if there was 25, that 25 pictured wise is maybe a half an hour, maybe a little longer. And to get all those listed and then put away is maybe 2 more hours. So I got 2.5 hours wrapped up in $500 profit. But it's tedious work. It's more money for the time, buddy. Not everything is a home run. So that's put away. And then this cool 8-track, Mike Oldfield. People may know Mike Oldfield from Tubular Bells. And Tubular Bells was used in The Exorcist. Hergest Ridge. Looks like there's a mountain lion or a dog or something. That'll get put over here. I got a couple other things that need to be put away. I'll do that some other time. So I was doing some groveling. If you liked anything you heard, cool, besides being kind of negative, but it's not really negative. It's someone else's written approach on trying to be facetious and condescending and pompous. When you look at their eBay account, it's 2 years old, and they have more negatives and neutral feedbacks, although some of them have fallen off, but still, It's not good to have accumulation of that, which is basically the amount of fingers and toes someone has, and then go off and try to be pompous and arrogant to somebody else who's been at it a lot longer. Who that if you're like, oh well, I mean, you could do that much with media in that much amount of time instead of being not even thankful, instead of just being passive about it. You got to come off and be a passive aggressive. That's about as angry as that was. But for the bottom line is, for the little amount of work that there is for physical media and where you have to go, what you have to do, and all the other stuff, I it's it's a great turnover for time and cost. If I were to actually do this 40, 50 hours a week, there'd be no doubt that it would be 200,000 gross. I mean, it's still. I mean, throughout the rolling 365 days, if I were to bring that up, it's still over 100,000. It's like 104,000 for the past rolling 365 days. If I'm doing this 25, 30 hours a week, but if I stay a lot more structured, I already am structured, but if I stay more structured and get more stuff and get that stuff listed, put away, and just keep that in a complete momentum, easily 200K gross. And it's not a lot of work for it. That's my take. Appreciate it. Thank you. Oh.